sing and we watch, but when does watching turn into owning, into controlling? For decades, pop stars, especially young women, have lived their lives being scrutinized by the tabloids and paparazzi. Every mishap becomes a headline, every transformation becomes a scandal. But while the public dissects their lives, these artists have found a way to speak back, not through interviews, but through their music. Songs like Leave Me Alone, Piece of Me, Rumors, Paparazzi, Rehab, and Fly on the Wall aren't just catchy, they're protests. They're personal essays wrapped in pop production. Today, we are doing a mini deep dive into the times artists have used music to confront the media machine, to reclaim the narrative, to expose the pressure, and to survive being turned into a spectacle. In 2006, Miley Cyrus emerged on the scene with an explosive introduction portraying the fictional pop star Hannah Montana on the Disney Channel. The success of the show turned Miley into an immediate teen idol in the years following. For those first few years, Miley was beloved and respected in the households all across America until April 2008, when she first found herself embroiled in controversy when she posed for the publication Vanity Fair wearing only a white blanket, exposing her entire back. The then 15-year-old Miley Cyrus, who posed for what was supposed to be an elegant, grown-up photo shoot, soon became a scandal. The same media that watched her grow up in the previous few years turned on her in a moment, projecting shame, scandal, and over-sexualization into a child. Miley eventually released an apologetic statement in which she said, "I took part in a photo shoot that was supposed to be artistic, and now, seeing the photographs and reading the story, I feel so embarrassed. I never intended for any of this to happen, and I apologize to my fans who I care so deeply about." Later that same year in November, Miley released a second single from her second studio album, Breakout, titled Fly on the Wall, a theatrical pop anthem wrapped in paranoia. But behind the sense and sarcasm was real fear. The fear of being watched, judged, and stripped of her agency before she ever had a chance to explain who she is as a person. The song isn't just about nosy exes or fans. It's a cryptic, darkly theatrical expression of the paranoia and surveillance Miley was starting to feel as she tried to grow up in the public, with lyrics such as,
"You'd love to know the things I do when I'm with my friends and not with you. You always second guess, wonder if there's other guys I'm flirting with. You should know by now."
Miley could easily be talking about the paparazzi, critics, or Disney executives, as it could easily be about a boyfriend. The you she was referring to is a voyeuristic media that feeds off of her every move.
The concept is kind of thriller-esque. It's kind of like where the paparazzi become these zombies.
And action!
I wrote it for like the media, always feeling like they need to be in my life.
Alongside the song itself, the song's gothic and spooky cinematic visuals, by being chased by paparazzi and watched through surveillance cameras, all reflect how Miley was grappling with the invasive relationship between fame and privacy. At 15 years old, Miley was already learning that in the public eye, she wasn't just a girl, she was a product. The surveillance aesthetic, in which the video includes black and white security camera footage, distorted angles, and chase scenes lit by flashing bulbs, all mimic the feeling of being caught on tape even when you're alone, which sadly concludes with the video ending with Miley fleeing into a car for safety and privacy, soon leads to her venting to who she thought was a friend, secretly recording her and posting her private outbursts into a gossip blog.
We gotta go there. 2008. Everyone knows the controversy of the photo, but they don't really know the behind the scenes, which is always much more meaningful. My little sister Noah was sitting on Annie's lap and actually pushing the button of the camera, taking the pictures. My family was on set, and this was the first time I ever wore red lipstick because Patty Dubroff, who did my makeup, thought that that would be another element that would divide me from Hannah Montana. This image of me is a complete opposite of the bubblegum pop star that I had been known for being, and that's what was so upsetting. But really, really brilliant choices looking back now from those people.
From the moment Lindsay Lohan stole everyone's hearts by playing the twins in the 1998 classic The Parent Trap, she became a fixture in our TV and movie screens with movies such as Life Size, Freaky Friday, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, and Get a Clue. By 2004, Lindsay Lohan was everywhere. She had just started Mean Girls and was on every red carpet and was chased by cameras outside every club in LA. Inevitably, the tabloids pitted her against Hilary Duff, which ignited their unusual beef, with the media also becoming obsessed over her body and painting her as a party girl before she could even vote. Lindsay's song Rumors was a warning. It was a song from a teenage girl who could already feel the spotlight burning. It wasn't just about fame, it was about identity theft, how the headlines were rewriting her story before she even had a chance to tell it herself. As a young superstar in the industry, the paparazzi hounded her outside the clubs, despite her only being 18. Gossip blogs picked apart her outfits, speculated about her weight, and reduced every friendship or rumor into a scandal. She hadn't been arrested, well, at that point, not yet. She hadn't gone to rehab, but they already decided her downfall was inevitable. This all led to the 2004 track Rumors off of Lindsay's debut album titled Speak, a club track with a cry of exhaustion dressed up in strobe lights and synths. Lindsay wasn't just venting, she was fighting for control over a story that was being written without her. With lyrics such as, "I'm tired of rumors starting, I'm sick of being followed, I'm tired of people lying, saying what they want about me, why can't they back up off me, why can't they let me live, I'm gonna do it my way, take it for just what it is." It shows Lindsay was absolutely fed up at that point.
So Rumors is my first single off of the album that I'm working on now. We're in the process of doing it. And it's basically about just kind of people spreading rumors about me and paparazzi kind of hunting people down and not giving them their space and their privacy. The thing that I want people to think is I'm not annoyed with that. Because you kind of work to get to that place. But it's just kind of saying, just I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna have fun and I'm gonna be a girl and hang out with my friends and stuff. So just chill out a little bit. It's normal. It's not unusual to do that.
As for the video, it opens in a parking garage dimly lit and full of tension, with paparazzi swarming Lindsay as she is on the run from the over-the-top exposure. When Lindsay enters the upstairs club, freely dancing under neon lights, but the freedom is an illusion. She's still performing, still being watched, but there's a moment of defiance when she stares straight into the camera, spinning and singing, "Why can't they let me live?" She looks powerful, but the question lands like a plea. And then the twist, the chase, the dance, the escape, it was all caught on tape. In the final shot, the same trenchcoat paparazzi sit in a control room watching her footage on screens. They weren't chasing her, they own her. It's not a music video, it's a surveillance, which makes it even more disheartening seeing as how Lindsay's next few years transpired with the non-stop media coverage she received for her shortcomings. As a side note, hopefully I'm not showing my age too much, but it was not until a few years ago that I found out Lindsay Lohan made music, let alone had 2 albums. But I am glad I found out because Rumors has been on repeat ever since. Revisiting this song makes me sad because if Rumors was Lindsay Lohan trying to escape the flash of the cameras, Rehab is Amy Winehouse staring straight into the lens and daring it to keep rolling. In 2006, Amy wasn't just a rising star, she was already a spectacle. Tabloids didn't cover her art. The media hunted her addictions, they microanalyzed her weight, her marriage, her makeup. Despite her immense talent and critical acclaim, the media was more interested in her chaos than her craft. She wasn't being uplifted as a serious artist, even though Back to Black was an undeniable masterpiece. Instead, she was treated like a tragic circus act, someone to be watched, not listened to. When discussing her brief experience with Rehab, Amy was quoted saying, "I asked my dad if he thought I needed to go. He said no, but I should give it a try. So I did, just for 15 minutes. I went in and said hello and explained that I drink because I am in love and have screwed up the relationship. Then I walked out." When she learned that it was her management company that urged her to go to rehab, she fired them as soon as possible. Then later, when she was hanging out with her friend and producer Mark Ronson, the topic of rehabilitation came up, in which Mark recalled by saying, "I was walking down the street with Amy. We were in New York and we've been working together for about a week, and we were walking to some store. She wanted to buy a present for her boyfriend, and she was telling me about a specific time in her life that was..." I feel bad talking about a friend like this, but I think I've told this story enough times. But she hit a certain low, and her dad came over to try and talk some sense into her. And she was like, "He tried to make me go to rehab," and I was like, phew, no. And the first thing I was like, ding, 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 ding. I'm supposed to be like, "How was that for you?" And all I'm like is, we've got to go back to the studio.
I was walking down the street with my friend Mark Ronson, who produced half the album. And I said as a joke, purely as a joke, I sang the hook. And he was laughing, and he goes to me, "Who's that?" He was like, "Who is that? That's funny." And I was like, "Well, I just made it up. It's nothing, it's stupid." It's a novelty song. I'm used to writing songs that take me a year to write about horrible, about getting your heart stamped on. So, because it's such a silly little song, I was like, we could do it in 5 minutes.
With lyrics such as, "I don't want to ever drink again. I just need a friend. I'm not going to spend 10 weeks having everyone think I'm on the mend." It explicitly highlights the genesis of Amy's addiction. Here lies the core of the song's heartbreak. Amy doesn't actually reject the recovery process itself. She rejects being processed. She doesn't need a treatment plan for the sake of public approval and praise. She deeply desires human connection, trust, and simply a friend. Amy sings, "It's not just my pride, it's just till these tears have dried," which highlights that her pain that hasn't healed. And the rehab everyone is pushing her into is just a band-aid that is unable to medicate the lingering sadness of her everyday life. The video for Rehab feels like a performance that isn't for us. Amy walks through sterile therapy halls looking uninterested and unimpressed. She's not performing vulnerability, she's resisting the whole idea of it being something packaged. The song has a retro Motown groove, but underneath the bounce is pain. The song Rehab isn't about recovery, it's about rejection. She's rejecting the fake concern of a system that wanted to put her through the motions of healing just to sell the headline, quote, "She's better now." Amy's story isn't just tragic, it's instructive. Because Rehab wasn't a warning about addiction, it was a warning about us. We wanted a spectacle, we bought the headlines, we danced to a song, and then kept watching her unravel. And now, looking back, Rehab doesn't sound cheeky anymore. It sounds like a woman begging for someone to truly understand and see her. As a side note, I must point out that this year, 2025, the album was selected for preservation in the United States National Recording Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant, which is more than well deserved. By 2007, Britney Spears wasn't just a pop star, she was a punching bag, a photo op, a headline, but behind every breakdown was a human being who had been famous since she was 16 and trapped by that fame ever since. If I were to go into detail of Britney's chaotic 2006 to 2008, we would be watching the video for quite some time, but I would just gloss over, shall I say, the lowlights. From getting a divorce at the age of 24 from Kevin Federline, who was the father of her 2 sons, to becoming a single mother and dealing with the media describing her as an unfit and spiraling mother, to the head shaving incident, to attacking a photographer's car with an umbrella directly after she shaved her head, to being placed under 2 involuntary psychiatric holds, and to her father kickstarting her 13-year conservatorship over her, Britney was going through it. So in October 2007, Britney released her 5th album, Blackout, which soon became known as the Pop Bible, which included the 2nd single, Piece of Me. The song was released during a time when Britney just couldn't win. If she stayed at home, she was reclusive. If she went out, she was partying too hard. If she showed emotions, she was unstable. Piece of Me was a direct shot of how the media profited off her pain and how society kept feeding it by antagonizing her and dissecting her every move under a microscope. With lyrics such as, "I miss bad media, karma, another day, another drama, guess I can't see the harm in working and being a mama, and with the kid on my arm, I'm still an exceptional earner, you want a piece of me? I miss his lifestyles of the rich and famous. I miss his, oh my god, that Britney shameless. I miss his extra, this just in. I miss his, she's too big, now she's too thin, you want a piece of me." It shows how the media manufactured drama around her even when Britney wasn't doing anything wild. The press still managed to find a way to make her the story. Even when Britney dared to keep working while also being a mother, the public set forth unreasonable expectations for her to either vanish or be perfect. And when she didn't, she was deemed unstable and irresponsible. As for the music video, the entire video feels like a present-day depiction of the world cultivated by paparazzi and voyeurism. Britney isn't just being watched, she's trapped in it. The contrast of the shiny, silvery interiors and harsh lighting makes it feel like a glamorous prison that Britney is stuck inside. More notably, in the video, Britney is cloned and multiplied, which reflects how her image was copied, edited, and sold to the public as a commodity, as opposed to a woman juggling the realities of life and fame. Towards the end of the video, it concludes with Britney walking past walls of TV screens, with each one replaying moments from the video as it displays the irony of Britney watching herself be watched. Describing what inspired the song Paparazzi, which was the 5th single off of Lady Gaga's iconic 2009 debut album, The Fame Monster, Gaga said that Paparazzi is a love song. It's about a relationship, but it's also about this twisted idea of loving fame. It's about wanting the paparazzi to want you, but also feeling hunted by them, and also how in the world of celebrity, those two often get dangerously intertwined. Gaga was brilliantly fascinated by the way the media blurs the line between adoration and obsession, and how being watched becomes part of a star's identity and survival. The song analyzes fame as a dark and twisted obsession, which could have fatal consequences for those celebrities who are heavily scrutinized. In the lyrics, Lady Gaga sings, "I'm your biggest fan, I'll follow you until you love me, paparazzi. Baby, there's no other superstar, you know that I'll be your paparazzi. Promise I'll be kind, but I won't stop until that boy is mine. Baby, you'll be famous, chase you down until you love me, paparazzi." The sweet and calmness in Gaga's delivery of those lines highlight the psychotic infatuation disguised as love and concern of the fan. Maybe a stalker, maybe the paparazzi, maybe the public at large, and reframes it as a love song. But at its core, it's a twisted, invasive, conditional, transactional form of love that is about access and control. Even before stan culture started to get as toxic as it is now, the manic fascination of these quote-unquote fans reflects how both them and the media often say they are supporting the stars, while relentlessly demanding more of their lives, their pain, their privacy. In Paparazzi, Gaga exposes the fake compassion in the fame game. The music video, which is essentially a short film, begins with Gaga and her boyfriend having a romantic moment in a luxurious mansion until the energy shifts dramatically when photographers catch them on the balcony, which then leads to Gaga's boyfriend shoving her off the edge of the balcony, literally sacrificing her livelihood for the shot. Though Gaga survives the fall, she is then seen using crutches and appearing robotic and lifeless, which leads Gaga to do what she can to plot her public comeback narrative after her literal fall from grace. Gaga later reemerges with stunning couture and confidence as she is now embracing the attention that is propelling her to an icon, a spectacle, a character who feeds on attention. Towards the end of the video, Gaga poisons her abusive boyfriend, then calls the paparazzi to photograph the crime scene, which then catapults Gaga to infamy, where the headlines are now praising her. In 2009, Gaga delivered a memorable and very much bloody MTV VMA performance of this song, in which she spoke on by saying, "For my MTV performance, I still keep learning about what I was trying to say. I just knew I had to bleed to death for 4 minutes on TV. And I remember telling MTV, and they were really quiet on the other end of the line. And it was silent, and they said, 'Okay, Gaga, we're going to make it happen. If that's your vision, we're going to do it.' I wanted to say something about how the celebrity sort of has this inevitable demise that we love to watch. But are we killing them, or are they killing themselves? I also remember my obsession with young women when I was younger that died. Beautiful young actresses and poets, Marilyn Monroe, Judy Garland, and Sylvia Plath. These young women that died that we never saw their death. We see the deaths of these other women, but we don't see their death. So I think I wanted to show that, and in my showing that, if you're wondering what I'm going to look like when I die, here it is." Before Britney shaved her head, before Lindsay walked out of court in a mini dress, before Gaga turned the paparazzi into high art, there was Michael Jackson. And in the mid-1980s, he wasn't just a superstar. He was the most famous person on earth and became the blueprint for how fame would fracture a human being. One week, he was sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber to stay young. The next, he was buying the Elephant Man's bones. He had a pet ship named Bubbles. He wanted to be Peter Pan. They said he was bleaching his skin, that he wasn't black anymore, that he wasn't human anymore. They called him Wacko Jacko. But Michael wasn't passive in all of this. He saw what was happening. And in 1989, he released Leave Me Alone off of his album Bad. A song, a cry, and a surreal takedown of the machine that tried to devour him.
I want to set the record straight. That if people hear a lie long enough, people believe it. That people have lied on me. I'm a black American and I'm proud of it. And I'm honored of it. The bleach skin rumor, which is a rumor, I don't bleach my skin. They once said I wanted a white kid to play me as a child, which was a rumor. Inauguration rumor, saying I didn't want to do President Clinton's inauguration. I'm not gay.
With lyrics such as, "I don't care what you talking about, baby. I don't care what you say. Don't you come walking back, begging back, mama. I don't care anyway. Time after time, I gave you all of my money. No excuses to make. Ain't no mountain that I can't climb. Baby, all is going my way." Michael is immediately dismissing the ridiculous accusations and speculations surrounding his identity that have clouded his whole career up until that point. At that moment in Michael's career, he quit trying to explain himself, which was evident in the very limited public appearances he made and very few interviews he'd done, which forced Michael to become a recluse. I don't think Michael was born a recluse because early on in his career, especially during the Jackson 5 and his off-the-wall era, he seemed public-facing and charismatic, but by the time Thriller arrived, which made him the biggest star in the world in the early 1980s, the media frenzy that followed turned invasive, cruel, and relentless. Even people he worked with or befriended would sometimes leak stories for money, which led Michael to grow distrustful. He couldn't tell who genuinely liked him and who just wanted to sell him out. Throughout the song, Michael reminds us that he's still in control and is not the broken public figure the media makes him out to be. The video itself is a carnival of rumor. The visual is a surreal, animated, chaotic collage, part amusement park ride, part tabloid fever dream. We see Michael as a giant carnival attraction strapped to the roller coaster-like ride, where Michael is no longer a person, he's a commodity, an experience the public consumes. Throughout the next few scenes, we see floating cutouts of gossip headlines, bizarre rumors, and animated references, like him dancing with the Elephant Man's bones, or chilling in a hyperbaric chamber, which Michael is using as references to reclaim and mock. Towards the end of the video, Michael finds a way to break free from the shackles used to persecute and pin Michael down, in which he then destroys the entire amusement park set built from tabloids visualizing his pleas for autonomy, dignity, and silence. All in all, these songs aren't just catchy pop songs, they're cultural artifacts. Emotional testimonies from artists who were trapped under the microscope of fame. From Britney's sarcasm and Piece of Me, to Amy's haunting resistance in Rehab, to Gaga's theatrical satire and Paparazzi, to Michael's defiant outcry and Leave Me Alone, each artist turns their pain into performance. What unites them isn't just their celebrity, it's how they push back against the media machine that profited off of their breakdowns, distorted their humanity, and rewrote their lives as headlines. Through melody and metaphor, they reclaim the narrative, but at what cost? These songs ask us not just to listen, but to question, at what point does fascination become cruelty? And who gets hurt when we can't look away? Please let me know in the comments which of these songs we discussed today or any other tabloid response song is your favorite and why. Do you think we grant celebrities the right to privacy, or do we treat their pain as public property? Have we really changed as a culture, or has the spotlight just shifted to a different kind of fame and breakdown, now streamed in real time? Is fame inherently toxic, or do we make it that way? Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell, and I'll see you next time.